Your friend slips and falls flat on the ground. There's neither a banana peel nor a rock in sight. It's just a flat sidewalk, and their feet have betrayed them. And before your brain has even processed what's happening, you've already started laughing. This isn't a gentle chuckle. It's a real, hearty laugh. The kind that makes your stomach ache and brings tears to your eyes. You didn't choose this. Even if you'd tried to stop it, you couldn't have. And here's the question no one asks. Where does this reaction actually come from? The answer isn't what you think, and it goes back much further than words. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on interesting science topics like this. Most people assume we need language to laugh. Don't you have to understand a joke first to laugh at it? The setup, the punchline, the timing. It's actually a model you're taught in school without even being told. You might not even realize it, but you've learned it. However, researchers studying primates discovered something that completely debunks this model. Chimpanzees laugh, and so do bonobos, and they do this without exchanging a single word. In the 1930s, primatologists noticed something while playing with young chimpanzees. When you tickled them, or when they were wrestling and playing tag with each other, they made a rhythmic breathing sound. Breathy, rapid, almost like a suppressed cough. Scientists eventually decided to give it a name, the play gurgle. Yes, they called it the play gurgle, and when they recorded it and slowed it down for acoustic analysis, the rhythm and triggers of this sound, physical, play, tickling, tag, mock fighting, matched human laughter almost perfectly. And that's exactly where the detail that changes everything comes in. This sound arises from intense physical contact between animals that trust each other completely. A chimpanzee engages in play wrestling with another chimpanzee, with whom it has formed a strong bond. They bare their teeth at each other, roll around, hold on to each other, and throughout all of this, that breathless sound continues uninterrupted. If actual aggression has begun or is about to begin, this sound stops abruptly. This sound does not express amusement. It signals something specific. It sounds like a fight, but it isn't. No one needs to get hurt here. This is the part most people fail to notice. Laughter didn't originally start as a reaction to humor. It began as a signal. Its true meaning was a message circulating between two bodies, roughly translating to "you can keep going, I'm not a threat." Think about how strange that is. Two young primates are rolling around, gripping each other's arms forcefully for play, and the entire interaction remains safe thanks to that sound. Imagine removing that sound and transforming the same behavior into something entirely different, something that could result in injury or a strained relationship. Laughter serves a structural function. It's like a hook that holds the entire interaction together. Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp, who has spent years studying animal emotions, took this idea even further and applied it to rats. Yes, rats, laboratory rats. He discovered that when rats are tickled or chase their litter mates while playing, they emit ultrasonic chirps at frequencies far beyond what the human ear can detect without equipment. Rats that were tickled regularly became accustomed to this. When they weren't being tickled, they would start looking for the hand that tickled them and run toward it instead of away from it. They were, in effect, becoming addicted to it. Panksepp did not believe in coincidences, and he did not think this was one either. He believed that these kinds of play sounds extended back tens of millions of years in the mammalian brain, long before primates existed, long before anything resembling a human began walking anywhere. In that case, if a rat can do something like this, laughter is not an invention that evolved through witty conversations. It's more like a fire alarm or a heartbeat. Deeply ingrained ancient circuits are performing a function that has nothing to do with being funny. Now let's go back to our ancient ancestors. At some point in our evolutionary history, our ancestors must have exhibited the same breathless behavior during rough-and-tumble physical play, wrestling, tag, and mock fights, all intended to build trust between children and adults. Over time, the sound of heavy breathing changed. It gained more volume and rhythm. It transformed from ha 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 to ha 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 ha, becoming what we can now call a genuine laugh. yet the underlying function remained the same. It was never about jokes. The real issue was trust within physical closeness. This is precisely where Robert Provine's research takes on great significance. Do you know how this man spent his years? Listening to people's laughter in public spaces and shopping malls. He recorded thousands of examples of natural laughter and analyzed what happened right before each one. The findings shocked just about everyone. Only about 10 to 20% of these laughs were in response to a funny joke. The vast majority, however, followed completely ordinary statements. Things like, "See you later," or "Are you sure about that?" Ordinary sentences with no clever twist. Don't you think it's surprising that most laughter has nothing to do with jokes? Share your thoughts in the comments. What Provine noticed was that laughter was largely centered around relationships. People laughed more when they were in a group than when they were alone. They laughed more with friends than with strangers. The speaker laughed much more than the listener, which overturned the common assumption that laughter is primarily a reaction to something funny said by someone else. To me, this seemed less like a reaction to comedy and more like a social glue, something people use to constantly convey the message, "We're okay, we're on the same side, this is a safe interaction." This single finding, strangely, aligns with what research on chimpanzees and bonobos conducted decades ago had already indicated. The primary function of laughter was never entertainment. Its primary function was to forge connections. It was simply a tool to soften hierarchies, reduce tension between individuals, and silently confirm that a group was stable. And this actually explains something that used to seem contradictory. Why is laughter contagious? Why does hearing someone else laugh make you laugh too, even if you don't know what they're laughing at? If laughter were a reaction to humor, this reaction wouldn't make any sense at all, since you don't even know the joke. But if laughter is fundamentally a method of establishing a connection passed between individuals, then its contagiousness is exactly what we'd expect. Hearing laughter triggers a mirrored social reflex rather than leading to a judgment about the comedy. This is also why laugh tracks work in sitcoms. Even when the joke itself falls completely flat, your brain isn't just responding to the punchline, it's also reacting to the sound of other people laughing. There's also a physical aspect to all this that's rarely discussed. It's nearly impossible to convincingly mimic a genuine laugh, and listeners are extremely good at distinguishing between a real laugh and a fake one almost instantly. This distinction likely held great importance in early small human groups, where trust was not an abstract concept. Now, I'd like you to imagine a real evening from tens of thousands of years ago, spent around a campfire. A group of early humans has returned from a hunt that wasn't very successful. One slips while drinking water. Another mimics an animal fleeing in fear. And that same breathless, infectious sound spreads from person to person around the fire. This sound is the direct ancestor of the sounds your group makes around the dinner table tonight. The setting has completely changed, but the underlying mechanism has always been the same and always will be. So there is an unbroken connection linking a chimpanzee gasping for breath while playing in the forest, a rat tickled at a frequency we cannot hear, and a stranger laughing at your friend who fell face first on the sidewalk. Laughter came before jokes. It came before language. In my view, it is one of the oldest social technologies our species has produced. It's even older than fire, and probably older than tools too, because it required no skill whatsoever. Laughing was simple. All it took was two bodies close enough to need a signal between them. So the next time you're holding your stomach with laughter at something that isn't really that funny, like a friend's comical fall, a bad joke that doesn't quite land, or nothing at all, understand what lies beneath it. When you let out that laugh, you're not just having fun, you're sending out a signal older than speech itself, even if we don't realize it right. Now, perhaps the people we laugh at the most are rarely the ones who tell the best jokes, but they are the people you trust the most. And beneath every casual conversation you have, every dinner, and every silly inside joke, even if they don't make sense to outsiders, that same ancient circuit is still functioning exactly as it was intended. Were people in the past just as jealous as you are? If you're curious, the latest video is just for you.